Good morning and welcome to the Forex Daily Update, brought to you by Pepperstone on Monday the 26th of November 2018. I'm Darren Sinden and you can follow me throughout the day on Twitter by using @DS_Pepperstone. Okay, let's take a look at the overnight changes and price moves to be aware of. Of course, it's a Monday, so we'll look at things from a weekly standpoint. Just a few things to flag as far as I'm concerned. First of all, some continuing weakness in the euro against the dollar. The euro falling by 0.92% against the US currency over the course of the last week, trading at 113.4780 a short while ago. There were also losses for the Australian and New Zealand dollars. They've had a good push recently, but over the course of the last week, they were on the back foot as far as momentum was concerned, down by 0.62 and 0.65% against the US dollar respectively. A mixed bag from the emerging markets. The Brazilian real down by 2.26% against the greenback, giving back some of its pre and post Brazilian presidential election gains. Meanwhile, the South African rand continued to improve, adding 1.42% against the US currency to trade at 13.8156 a short while ago. Meanwhile, dollar index trading at 96.89 just before we recorded the video, up by 0.74%. Stuck in a bit of no man's land, however, at these kind of levels. Looking potentially likely, I guess, to test back to 97 from here. Can it break through that round number and move above it? It's been a bit of a problematic level for the dollar index for the whole of 2018. Let's see if it can make any difference to that figure this week. Okay, what's on the calendar? Events that may move the markets today. A pretty interesting calendar packed with central bank speakers. We've already heard from RBA Assistant Governor Kent this morning, and we've also had earlier on coincident and leading economic index data out of Japan for the month of September. Somewhat mixed and probably more disappointing than anything else, that data. To come at 9 a.m. we will have the IFO Business Climate Survey out of Germany that covers expectations, current business climate and the current assessment data there. At 9 a.m. we'll see the first of a batch of ECB central bankers take to the stand to give a speech, and kicking off with Peter Prié. He's followed by Jens Novotny at 12 p.m. GMT, and then at 12:30 it's the turn of Benoit Cœur to speak. At 13:30 we jump over the Atlantic for the Chicago Fed National Activity Index data for the month of October, another one of these regional Fed indices that are closely followed in the US markets. And then at 1400 ECB President Mario Draghi will be speaking, and obviously anything he says at the moment is being very closely followed. And then we have a pause until 18:30 GMT, when it's the turn of the Bank of England Governor Mark Carney to speak. And of course, in light of Brexit events, Mr Carney's words will also take on extra meaning. There is a break until 22:45 then, when we cross over the Pacific to New Zealand for trade balance data, imports, exports, surplus, etc. for the month of October. Okay then, breaking news and comment that's caught my eye overnight. First of all, Japanese manufacturing PMI has fallen to a 2-year low of 51.8 in November, and that is well down from last month's read of 52.9, which was itself a 6-month high. So quite wild fluctuations in the fortunes of Japan's manufacturing sector at the moment. EU leaders have signed off on Theresa May's Brexit plan, but warn there can be no renegotiation. Mrs May must now convince UK MPs and the UK public to back her plan. Meanwhile, world leaders will gather in Buenos Aires later this week for the G20. Donald Trump will meet his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping, even as trade tensions between the two countries remain unresolved. Right, let's take a look at food for thought and something to take away with you into the trading day and beyond. And why not think about this? Theresa May returns from Brussels today to try and persuade UK lawmakers to back her Brexit deal. But she faces opposition from within her own party and backers, including the DUP, who have kept Mrs May in power since the last general election. However, some Labour MPs may vote with her and cross party lines. The chart opposite examines 4 potential scenarios that could play out from here, and what that might mean for interest rate policy in the UK and by extension the value of sterling. And the data here has been compiled by ING Research. Well worth taking a look at the possible scenarios here. A smooth deal all the way round to a no deal and a WTO exit. There There's also a suggestion of a possible renegotiation. The EU have obviously potentially ruled that out. And let's see what happens across the course of this week and into the early part of December. Right, please take a moment to read this risk warning. Trading CFDs and foreign exchange on margin can be a risky business. If you're in any doubt about those risks or the suitability of leverage products for you, then please do contact your Pepperstone account representative, and do take a moment please to read this risk warning thoroughly. Thank you for your time today.